Ever felt like you re-performing a one-person play just trying to order a coffee in a new country? It's not the obvious language struggles I'm talking about. We're digging into those super subtle, almost imperceptible daily culture shocks between the US and your home country that no one ever warns you about, like the mystifying art of small talk with a cashier or the silent, unwritten laws of personal space. These aren't the postcard differences. They're the tiny, unexpected snags that make routine tasks feel surprisingly intricate. We're dissecting the subtle, often overlooked daily culture shocks experienced when moving between the US and one's home country. This isn't about major differences, but the surprising friction points in mundane interactions, from grocery store etiquette to public transport norms that newcomers often miss, revealing the unspoken rules governing everyday life. Let's start with something that trips up so many of us: the grocery store. Back home, a trip to the supermarket is a mission. You go in, you grab what you need, you pay, you leave. The interaction with the cashier is minimal, efficient, a polite nod, a quick thank you, and you're on your way. In the US, it's a full-blown social event. The first time a cashier asked me, "How's your day going?" with genuine enthusiasm, I froze. Was this a quiz? A trick question? I mumbled something incoherent, feeling like I had just failed a crucial social test. This isn't just a simple pleasantry. It's an expected part of the transaction. You're supposed to have a ready answer and maybe even a follow-up question. Great, thanks. How about you? It's a performance of friendliness that feels completely alien if you're not used to it. I've been here for years, and while I can now navigate the script, a part of me still feels a jolt of panic, like I'm about to be graded on my conversational skills just to buy a carton of eggs. Then there's the bagging situation. In many countries, you're the master of your own bagging destiny. You pack your own groceries, often with your own reusable bags. In the US, there's a dedicated bagger, a specialist whose sole purpose is to organize your purchases into a dozen plastic bags. Politely declining their help can feel like you're insulting their very profession. You find yourself in a strange, silent negotiation. Can I just put my bread on top of the cans myself? It's a dance of unspoken rules where efficiency is secondary to a certain protocol of service. You leave the store not just with groceries, but with the lingering feeling that you've just navigated a complex social labyrinth. And this labyrinth extends to the great outdoors, specifically to the concept of public versus private space. Let's talk about something as simple as walking down the street. In many crowded cities around the world, sidewalks are a free-for-all. You weave, you bob, you make fleeting eye contact to signal your next move. It's an organic, fluid dance of collective movement. In the US, especially in suburban areas, there's an unspoken bubble of personal space that follows everyone. Getting too close to someone on the sidewalk can feel like a violation. I once jogged past someone on a nearly empty path, and the way they flinched, you'd think I had tried to pick their pocket. There's an invisible force field, about 3 feet in diameter, that you're just not supposed to breach. This extends to waiting in line. Back home, a queue is a suggestion, a loose collection of people heading in the same general direction. Here, it's a sacred institution with clearly defined, albeit invisible, boundaries. The space between you and the person in front of you is holy ground. You don't inch forward until they've moved a significant distance. The collective patience is admirable, but for someone accustomed to a more opportunistic approach to queuing, it feels unnervingly rigid. It's a constant recalibration of your spatial awareness, learning to respect a bubble you can't even see. Now, let's move from public spaces to the most private of settings, the home. The American concept of hospitality is something I still grapple with. When you're invited to someone's house, the script is very specific. Make yourself at home, they'll say. But this is, in my experience, a beautifully crafted lie. It doesn't mean act as you would in your own house. It means, please sit politely on the designated guest couch and don't touch anything without asking. In my culture, if someone says, make yourself at home, they genuinely mean it. You can wander into the kitchen, grab a drink from the fridge, maybe even start helping with the cooking. It's a sign of intimacy and comfort. Trying that in an American home for the first time was a lesson in social horror. The host's smile tightened just a fraction as I opened their refrigerator, and I realized I had crossed a line. Making yourself at home is a figure of speech, a polite phrase that means be a pleasant and unobtrusive guest. The real rules are unwritten. You don't show up empty-handed, but the gift shouldn't be too extravagant. You offer to help clean up, but you must accept their refusal after the second offer. It's a delicate performance, and if you miss your cues, you feel like a bull in a china shop. It's a form of hospitality that is incredibly generous but operates within a framework of unspoken boundaries that can be baffling to an outsider. This theme of unspoken rules is perhaps most pronounced in the realm of transportation. If you've ever taken public transport in a major U.S. city versus, say, Tokyo or London, you'll know it's a different universe. On the subway in many parts of the world, there's a collective understanding of silence. You read a book, you listen to music with headphones, you stare into the middle distance. You do not, under any circumstances, strike up a conversation with a stranger. In the U.S., this rule is flexible. More than once, I've been on a bus or train and found myself in the middle of a public conversation, whether I wanted to be or not. Someone will comment on the book I'm reading or the weather or the delay, and suddenly I'm expected to engage. It's not malice. It's a different cultural setting for social interaction. But for someone conditioned to treat public transport as a zone of personal solitude, it can be incredibly jarring. Then there's the car culture. Driving in the U.S. is a world unto itself. The horn, for instance. In many countries, the car horn is a communication tool. It can mean, "Hello, watch out, I'm here," or "The light is green, my friend." It's used liberally, a constant soundtrack to the urban commute. In America, using your horn is an act of aggression. A short tap is a stern warning. A long blast is a declaration of war. I learned this the hard way, giving a friendly toot to a car that was lingering at a green light, only to be met with a furious glare and a gesture I didn't need a translator for. The unspoken rule is that the horn is for emergencies only. Patience, even in the face of bafflingly slow drivers, is the expected virtue. It's another instance where a simple, everyday action carries a completely different weight, turning a routine drive into a potential diplomatic incident. Finally, let's talk about something that permeates every interaction: communication itself. Americans have a wonderful and sometimes bewildering enthusiasm for positivity. Everything is awesome, amazing, or perfect. When you ask someone how they are, the answer is almost universally good or great, even if their life is actively falling apart. This relentless optimism can be confusing if you come from a culture where complaining is a form of bonding, or where a more realistic, nuanced response is the norm. Expressing a negative opinion, even a mild one, can sometimes be interpreted as being rude or pessimistic. You learn to sandwich any form of criticism between two layers of praise, the compliment sandwich. Instead of saying, "This report has a lot of errors," you say, "This is a great start, and I love the energy here. I just have a few small suggestions for clarity, but overall, fantastic work." It's a linguistic buffer that softens blows and maintains harmony. But it can also make it difficult to understand what people really think. Deciphering the subtext becomes a crucial skill. "That's an interesting idea" can often mean that is the worst idea I have ever heard. It's a high-context form of communication masquerading as directness. You're constantly translating not just words, but the emotional and social implications behind them. This isn't about the big, obvious differences. They're the tiny, surprising frictions that make everyday life surprisingly complicated.